8 o'clock, more action with the bill. But our change of programme, in place of catchphrase, we present Coronation Street remembers Doris Speed.
Pre-silence for Mrs. Annie Lilac Time Walker! Well, let's have a bit of hush, eh? Will you shut your gobs or I'll shut them for you?
Thank you, Len.
Thinking back on the very early days, Doris was relatively quiet. I remember at the first rehearsal there was Elsie, Pat Phoenix and Vi Carson were very dominant. And Doris wasn't so. She was more keeping to herself. And in the early episodes, she was more of the local girl.
Yes, Concept is upstairs getting ready now. I've let her use our bedroom. It's got the triple mirror. I did offer to lend her one of my gowns for this dance. It's a very lovely model. But she thought it was a bit formal for the occasion. I got it for a very big do I went to with my husband.
But as time went on, Doris's own personality, which was quite sort of regal and autocratic in its own way. She loved to build this little world around her, everybody running around, which people were happy to do. That gradually pervaded into the character, and she became more regal, like when we had the fancy dress party on the street and she came as Queen Elizabeth I. That was no accident. There was a lot of Doris there.
It is customary to kneel.
Some people get right into the part, don't they?
Well, she's been rehearsing all her life.
You can't rehearse, Majesty, Mr. Tetlock. It's either something you've got or you haven't.
So I remember it was the 5th of May 1982, and the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh were going to pay a visit to Coronation Street, so you can imagine the excitement. I mean, we were absolutely thrilled. But was Doris, I was never really quite sure whether she was, it might have been slightly beneath her, or maybe she was meeting her equals, because that was Doris.
Which is it. Ladies, I trust all goes well?
Very well, my liege.
No, not up to your usual droll standards. I'm sure you can do better than that.
She is superior to us, you know.
I always thought so, though.
She acted like a queen, you see, and everyone appreciated that. She was had a beautiful dry sense of humour, Doris, and I adored working with her. But she always had wonderful little remarks to say, you know. Oh, she was lovely.
Billy, could I have a word with you, please?
Told you.
Right, love, you just stay where you are.
It will be all right.
Of course it will. I've told you, I've taken you on.
Would you mind telling Miss Lynch to get dressed and go home, and then perhaps she'll be kind enough to tell me what she's doing behind the bar?
Mother, she is dressed and she's our new barmaid.
Oh, no, she isn't, dear.
Oh, look, Mum, Bet Lynch was willing and available.
I don't doubt it.
Oh, now, come on, Mum.
I'm telling you, honey, if you quit, it's going to be over my dead body.
And mine.
Miss Lynch, could I have a word with you, please? Billy has explained to me that you're helping us out for the time being. Now, of course, I cannot be responsible for any arrangement that you and he have made. But if you and the job find each other suitable, I may decide that we need someone permanently. At the moment, of course, I can't say. Oh, and do dress up a little warmer in future.
Annie Walker was a part that was custom built for Doris Speed. I first saw her when I was a little boy in the audience when I was 10 years old. I saw her in Noel Coward's Hay Fever, and she wore a purple dress with a silver stripe down the middle. By the time I was 12, I was working in Radio Children's Hour, and I was working with her, and I mentioned this dress, and she said, yes, French. And as she said it, I knew that this was a remarkable actress who'd never quite had the right thing to do. And it was this combination of very down-to-earth and very grand dame. And I was going round at 13, 14, saying one day I'm going to write a great big part for Doris Speed. And I did.
Is there somewhere where we can talk, Anne?
Yes, of course, dear. Well, this is a pleasant surprise.
I thought it would be. A happy new year.
And to you, dear, all the very best.
Actually, I tried to ring last night to extend the season's greetings.
Last night?
About 2 minutes after midnight.
And of course you couldn't get through.
Oh, I got through all right. I got Arthur.
Arthur?
My Arthur, who else?
Arthur? Here, dear. Are you sure?
Well, if I'm not, I want my ears testing. I mean, I've been married to him for 25 years.
Now you come to mention it, I did see Arthur at one stage of the evening. You know what a throng we have here on New Year's Eve.
It did sound a bit rowdy when I rang, actually, yes.
Tell me, Nella, dear, is something wrong between you and Arthur?
Whatever makes you think that?
Well, it seems so strange, dear, that he should be here so late last night.
Well, we had a few words, and I chucked him out.
Words, dear? What about?
Oh, this other woman he keeps going on about.
A woman? Arthur?
Oh, he worships her from afar. Of course, I've always thought she was a right Tatar myself, but Arthur's quite impressed. Of course, he never did have much discernment in that direction.
No, you say so.
I mean, like I said to him last night, all that glitters isn't necessarily gold, any more than all that's blonde is necessarily natural.
With the landlady from the Flying Horse was wonderful, wasn't it? The vying and rivalry that went on there, and Annie really set herself up. The lovely relationship with Arthur Leslie, who played Jack. Annie would be going on about this, that, and the other, and wanting to do this, and a whole scene would go on about what Annie wanted, and Jack would just say, "Eh, Annie," at the end, and it just seemed to put it right. He was a lovely balance to Annie Walker.
Morty, love.
As I haven't even started this one yet, thank you, no.
Oh. Is it too hot for you? A drop more milk?
It's just right, thank you.
Oh. More sugar?
I have been on a sugar-free diet for 3.5 years now.
Oh, aye. You're not to a couple of meringue tarts every tea time, though, are you?
The body has to maintain its calorie level. However, if you begrudge me a few tarts...
Oh, I don't. I mean, it's your only pleasure. And after all, there's no harm in a couple of little... Annie, how long am I in the doghouse for?
All I can say is, Harold Wilson doesn't realise how lucky he is.
What's he got to do with it?
He married Mrs. Wilson.
Well, what's he got to do with it?
Nothing.
Serves me right for asking.
If Mrs. Wilson had behaved like you did yesterday, he would never have become a dustman, let alone Prime Minister.
Annie.
The subject is closed.
After all, the Ladies' Victuallers Association isn't the House of Commons. It's only a blasted meeting.
And I will not tolerate coarseness at the breakfast
You'd
table.
have only sat there, supping tea and pulling folk to bits.
I could have lobbied.
You what?
Drummed up support. A kindly word to Mrs. Henderson about her sciatica. A pleasant smile to Mrs. Lund of the Three Bells.
Sucking up in general.
It is known as internal politics. But no, oh no. Far more important that you should run round a silly little field, rolling those silly little wooden balls.
Now look, Annie.
I have no wish to discuss it.
Good.
I actually went behind the bar when Arthur Leslie died. To work alongside of Doris, and it was an absolute honour. I really was delighted. I couldn't believe that I could be so lucky. She was quite brilliant. Her characterisation of Annie Walker was, well, in my opinion, one of the very, very best ever.
Come on, lads, let's have your glasses now, please. Oh, right. Don't speak, you, will you?
I've got nought civil to say.
Well, don't say it then. Mrs. Walker, I'm looking up. Ta, lads. Yeah. See ya.
Leave it a moment, Fred. I'm expecting someone. And don't you go, Bet. I want a word with you.
Well, it is still my day off, Mrs. Walker, which I have been working.
I know precisely what you've been doing, and I'm grateful to you, but I do not intend to remain grateful for the rest of my life. Let her in, it's Elizabeth. Thank you.
Want to see me, Mrs. Walker?
Yes, I do. Will you all go through? Shut the door, Fred, and sit down.
I hope you're not going to ask us to kiss and make up, Mrs. Walker, because I'm not in the mood.
Me neither.
Quite honestly, I don't care what you do. I am concerned with this business, my business, this public house. Now, you all saw what happened out there tonight. Customers are leaving because of the atmosphere caused by your stupid squabbles.
There's nothing stupid about it, Mrs.
As far as
Walker.
I'm concerned, that is precisely the word for them. Customers leaving because it is not possible to have a pleasant evening's entertainment there, and I, for one, don't blame them.
Can't blame me, Mrs. Walker.
I blame you all. And I've called you here tonight to say just this. Either you come in to work tomorrow morning and carry out your duties cheerfully and to the best of your abilities, or you find your way to the nearest job centre. I shall have no difficulty in finding people to take your place. And when I say cheerful, I mean cheerful, because I do not intend to listen to another word of bickering. Not one single word. Well,
I didn't want to cause any trouble, miss. But I'm not having my private life
that
banded
is
about.
precisely what I'm saying. Bet.
Well, I won't start anything, Mrs. Walker. And God help anybody who does.
Fred.
Well, you know me, Mrs. Walker. Anything for a quiet life.
Bet.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Walker.
Right. It's peace, then. Albeit an uneasy one.
Meet the good, the bad, the untamable, the unmentionable Roy Chubby Brown in his brand new video, Live at City Hall. His unrelenting feature film on video, UFO, the movie. And the unforgettable Mick Miller on video in Slaphead and Tickle. All available to buy on video now.
Gavin MacDonald was a worried man. His masterpiece, Terry's Old Gold, remained incomplete. He still had one last chocolate to create. Desperate for inspiration, Gavin went out for a long walk. It was then a miracle happened. That's it, rum! The Jamaican rumba was born. Soft truffle with West Indian rum in a barrel of dark chocolate. All Gold's inspired selection was complete, created entirely by Gavin MacDonald. Well, almost.
All Gold. Ridiculously good chocolates from Terry's.
You ain't nothing but a hound dog.
Everyone should own at least one Elvis album.
I'm all shook up.
Elvis, the Essential Collection.
My dad says he would like a blue-eyed blonde with her own place this Christmas.
Only at Woolworths.
Mrs. Walker, have your minute, lovey.
Well, here I am, Elizabeth.
Yes.
Hip, hip!
It's a little party for you. We've laid it all on, and all you've got to do is just enjoy it. 40 years at the Rover's return with you, Mrs. Walker. That's what we're celebrating. Come on.
She's a jolly good fellow, for she's a jolly good fellow, for she's a jolly good fellow, and so say all of us.
I'm very moved. I don't know what to say.
How about takes all round?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Mr. Ogden, you've solved my problem perfectly. Elizabeth, Bet, see that everybody has a
Right, all the very best, Mrs. Walker. Everything you wish yourself. Congratulations.
We hope to see you for many years to come in the Rovers down here.
Thank you. It's a wonderful gesture. Everybody's been so kind.
And we're all very pleased to be part of it, Mrs. Walker. But I gather it was Bet and Betty's idea.
Well, I'm as fortunate with my staff as I am with my customers. Elizabeth Bet, I'm very touched.
Oh, it's a great pleasure, Mrs. Walker. Just enjoy the evening.
Mrs. Walker, do you mind telling me something?
Yes, dear.
You've got your best frock on. You only ever wear that for special occasions.
That's true. And I think I know what you're suspecting. But you see, dear, after 40 years on these premises, there is nothing, absolutely nothing that escapes my notice.
Well, I'll be blowed, and I thought we'd kept it a dead secret.
Well, Mrs. Walker, there's at least one thing that you know nothing about. Len, will you do the necessary if we're all set?
Certainly.
What's up to now, Elizabeth?
I don't know, Mrs. Walker. It's as big a mystery to me as it is to you, lovey.
You ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0!
What a wonderful surprise.
Doris' performance of Annie Walker was so exactly what I intended that it would frighten me. I could sit down at a typewriter, write it, and I would look at it on the screen, and it would be exactly what I was expecting, except she'd bring something else to it. She'd bring magic. And the magic would be in a raised eyebrow, or in one finger to a curl, or just to a very far away expression. And of course, some of those eyes to heaven like that were because the lines were written up there and she was looking at them.
All ready, Hilda?
Well, as ready as I'll ever be, yeah. Excuse me. Excuse me, Mrs. Walker. It wasn't quite true what I said to Betty just now. I mean, I am packed, but, well, I was wondering, could I have the benefit of your advice?
Yes, Miss Elton.
Well, do you think I'll need a dressing gown in France? I've left room for it in case.
Well, it all depends, of course, doesn't it? If one has a bathroom en suite, then of course one doesn't. Do you have a bathroom en suite?
Oh, I don't know. They've never said.
Oh, in that case, I should take one. Does that solve your problem?
Not exactly, no. I haven't got one.
Mrs. Ogden, if you don't have a dressing gown, then you don't have a problem.
No, well, that's true in a way, but, well, I was wondering, could I impose, like? I mean, in view of your past generosities.
Are you implying that you should borrow my dressing gown?
I'm sure it'd be much admired.
I'm sure it would. And may I ask what I am supposed to wear while my dressing gown is in France?
Have you only got the one?
Some people, Mrs. Ogden, have none.
He was once, as we say, knocking about with Bet, and he got thrown out of the house, and he came into the Rovers to have a wash and a shave in the toilet. And Doris did not, Annie did not approve of
No. Well, I'll tell you what, you go
this
through to the
behaviour,
back and I'll come in and make
especially
a nice
this
cup of tea.
No, thank you.
itinerant cab driver
Just get a paper and go.
having a wash and shave in her toilet. Fit as a fiddle and ready for luck, eh?
May I ask what you're doing here?
I was,
He was waiting outside when I came, Mrs. Walker. You know he's had this domestic upset. He's been out all night, and he wanted a wash and a shave, so I let him use the gents.
I see. Well, if you've finished your ablutions, perhaps I could ask you to leave.
Yeah. Thanks.
Oh, well, when I first arrived in the street, of course, I was absolutely jellified because it was going out live. And although they weren't terribly famous then, they were pretty well known, you know. And I came in and thought, and there was Annie Walker, and she was very stern. And I thought, oh dear. And of course, Vi was stern as well. And anyway, they were both lovely. They were both very charming, very helpful, and they didn't make a fuss of me. They just let me get on with it. And I thought, well, if they can do it, I can do it. And it just went from there, you know. But both tremendous sense of humour. And of course, Doris, she used to love that when I called myself the Mer. And that used to make her giggle. And she had a terrible outfit. Well, it wasn't. It was a nice outfit, but it was all leopard skin. I used to call it the Trader Horn outfit, you know. And she'd fall about at that. I mean, she really took the mickey out of herself and let other people do it, you know.
Unfortunately, there's no dress allowance for mayoresses.
You by any chance trying to put me off, Councillor?
Well, I've got to be fair for both our sakes. There's no point in letting you go in with your eyes closed so that you turn around and say you didn't know what was entailed.
Oh, the responsibilities as such don't worry me. No, I'm more than willing to undertake them. But are you absolutely sure?
About you? Oh, I'd not be asking else.
I wouldn't like to let you down.
I think it's more likely to be the other way around. I bet you've forgotten more about social etiquette than I ever knew.
Yes, it wasn't the social side I had in mind.
No?
No, you see, I've always kept a wide interest in current affairs. But with the best will in the world, I really can't claim to be a very political animal.
Well, you got steamed up about that bed-sitter issue.
Ah, well, one has views, one cares, one must. But I don't see myself as a budding Eleanor Roosevelt or even a Margaret Thatcher.
Well, in that case, I could say we definitely got naught to worry about.
I beg your pardon?
Well, I'll put it another way. If you do take the job, you'll look after the hostessing, I'll look after the opinions. That way we'll both get along champion.
Well, she was a most unusual actress in that when she was a mere girl of 75, she was still going home to Mother, who was nearly 100. And every night she would trot off to Mother, and every morning we would press her for the latest stories of Mother. And the stories of Mother were legion. Doris did a scene once in which Jack left her, and she thought Jack was having an affair, and so she played a tortured, passionate, dramatic scene in the living room of the Rovers. Doris recorded it on a Friday, and on a Monday at home she watched it with her mother. And of course her mother had been an actress too. And she waited for a comment, and she waited, and she waited. And finally her mother said, "Doris, that apron you were wearing, was it wardrobe's or was it your own?"
Get me coat off, down into the cellar, tap a barrel, get ready for opening time.
Not until you tell me where you spent last night.
All right, I will tell you, love.
Don't you love me?
On second thoughts, then, I don't think I will tell you. No, I've got a nice little stall all nicely laid out. And shall I tell you something? It's smashing. I ought to have done it years ago. I'd almost forgot what it was like to get into bed.
Bed?
Turn out the light, go straight off to sleep without any argy-bargy, mithering or bickering. I can tell you it's smashing. I feel a new man already. Hello, Hilda.
I thought you said you were in the bath.
Excuse me.
I want some matches for you.
Help yourself, help yourself.
She looked after her mother, who was very, very ill, and some nights she didn't get any sleep because her mother was in a bad way. And she'd come in and do the job and go home and look after her mother again. Amazing. And nobody ever knew about that, you know.
I can't help thinking how your father would have enjoyed himself tonight.
He liked this place, didn't he?
He loved it. Always something of a mystery to me, but he did.
Now, you're not going to let this party get you all depressed, are you?
No, love. I'm just wondering where the 40 years have gone to. It seems like no time at all.
Well, pretty packed 40 years, wasn't it?
Yes, indeed. We may not have lived through the most gracious period in the history of the world, but nobody can say it hasn't been eventful. They've been happy years, Billy. Not all of them, of course. But I do know I've been a very fortunate woman. With your father, of course, and with my children.
Anything wrong, Mrs. Walker?
Just thinking.
Oh.
It's a sort of anniversary this week.
Oh, you mean, Mr. Walker's?
No, that's in June. No, it's 42 years since Jack and I came here.
42 years, eh? You'll soon be in for the golden anniversary. Hey, you'll get that gold clock from the brewery then, won't you? Well, you don't seem too chuffed about it, Mrs. Walker.
Don't I? Well, you see, Fred, it wasn't what I wanted.
Well, who gets what they want out of life these days, Mrs. Walker?
Some people seem to manage it. I was always two people, really. The landlady of the Rover's Return and someone quite different. Maybe it made it more bearable when Jack died. I could retreat into my dreams.
You know, I never thought of you as a fanciful sort of person, Mrs. Walker.
Oh.
I wouldn't have thought it.
Fred, if you only knew the places I've travelled to inside my mind, the people I've met, the ambitions I've had.
I used to have ambition. I used to think I were Nat Lofthouse. You know, Nat Lofthouse, the footballer. The Lion of Vienna, they used to call him. Fancy calling you that.
Or the blonde bombshell.
Who was that?
Jean Harlow. I used to see all her films.
Get away.
True.
Mind you, it can't have been all that bad, Mrs. Walker, can it, running this pub? It's a nice little pub, isn't it? Cosy pub. It's got friendly customers, well, with one or two exceptions.
Yes. I suppose that is some consolation. I have been the hub of a community. You might even say I've had my own little kingdom.
She would have liked a little pub in Cheshire, you know, beams and horse brasses and all that. She would have fitted in beautiful, wouldn't she? Oh, bless her.
Well, there's many times that Doris hardly said a word in a scene, and it was all in the eyes. The eyes said it all. Delightful. Greatly missed.
But mainly, as I say, most of my memories are her laughing and wheezing the laughter, you know.
Doris Speed was a one-off. She really was.
Great authority. She had great authority as a person and as an actress.
I've not thought about the actress for a long time, but I'll miss the friend. Yeah.
Seems a long time since you called me your flower.
Hey? Aye.
Call me once again, Jack.
Hey, I couldn't, Annie.
Just once, Jack. Please. Just once.
All right, Annie. My flower.
That tribute to Doris Speed replaced our regular edition of Catchphrase.